It's the Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. It's the Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. It's the Evan edition.
Welcome back to the Evan edition, where we talk movies, TV, comics, pop culture, and everything in between. I am your host, Evan Bernstein, and I am joined by the man with the plan. He's so money, he doesn't even know it. Zach Goldburn, how are you, my friend? Happy 2026.
Happy 2026. Happy New Year. Happy holidays. I'm doing great. You have a nice you're fancy today. You got the fancy shirt. You got the chest hair. You got the new light. You got the glass. I'm just in a plain black shirt, undid hair, and I got this big old thing. So
you look good, brother. You look good. You're dressed, ready to go, ready to bring on some new takes for 2026. And man, I'm really excited to bring in the new year with you and start this off right. It's been a minute. I mean, the last one that we did was our top 10 anticipated. That was December 21st. So
yeah,
man, I've been itching to get back on this mic, and good thing we have a ton of fun stuff to talk about. So I can't wait to get into it. We got Sebastian Stan, Harvey Dent, stylist spoiling it already. We got Kathleen Kennedy out finally, maybe. I don't know. X-Men are gonna save the MCU, it seems like. We got so many things. Blade out, but 1 foot in. So we got a lot of stuff. But before we get into all this stuff, let's start the show off right. I want to ask you, is there anything you've seen this past week that you would recommend to the audience?
Yeah, so this Friday I saw Primate, a new horror film. I think it's by Blumhouse, not 100% sure, about an ape that catches rabies, and he was a pet of this family, and the parents were gone. The friends came over, and he just starts going absolutely nuts. And I gotta say, I was very impressed by it. It's like a masterclass at building horror tension. And the movie's a lot more violent and gory than I expected it to be. And they started off like right away, letting you know, oh, you're gonna see some shit in this movie. So if you and the crowd was like in it, right? Like I had a full crowd. It was 7 o'clock at night and on a Saturday, and everybody from the front row was there. Everybody was gasping and laughing. So it was just really, really fun. It's a really great time. If you are queasy or you don't like movies that are a little bit more mean spirited, because this movie's a little mean, it might not work for you. I saw one of my favorite reviewers walked out like halfway through because it was just too mean spirited for them. Yeah, so it's not for you in that sense, but like if you watch Bring Her Back and was able to handle that, you can handle this.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that sounds good. I've watched a few things this weekend. I've been watching a ton of stuff, so I can't get into all of it because we'll be here way too long. But I watched and finished His and Hers on Netflix with Tessa Thompson and John Bernthal, and it is fantastic. Easy, 6 episodes, really digestible, and honestly, arguably one of the best twists at the end of a TV series that I've seen in a very, very long time. I predicted something and then I was right, and then in the end I was not right. So I was like, wait, what? I was like, oh, they proved it. I was right. And so it's very interesting, but fantastic. Limited series. You know what I mean? Like in, out, and then of course, you know, you have the great actors within John Bernthal and Tessa Thompson, and it was highly enjoyable. Definitely recommend it. On top of that, I finally got to see Tron Ares. And
yes, you texted me and told me you were going to check that out.
Yeah, as a lot of people this weekend, I think it's like the #1 streaming movie on Disney right now. So people are finally getting to see what all the hate is about. But overall, I I enjoyed it. You know, it's in my opinion, it's not as good as Tron Legacy. I did enjoy that a lot better, but there was a lot of aspects of the movie I really liked. Obviously, you know, everyone kept mentioning the music, but what they didn't really mention is like how good the music is, in the sense that like the music like builds and grows throughout the movie. And
Yeah.
so like even in the beginning, like it's the instrumentals are a little bit different, and then it gets more intense, and then there's more of that Nine Inch Nails like singing involved in it. And as I was watching, I was like, oh wow, like the evolution of the music in this movie, it's such a driving force of the movie that it felt like its own character, not in the sense that, you know, in Challengers, the music cues is kind of showing you the battles between two people, even when it's talking. But this was more like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I was like, oh wow, like you could feel the music evolve as the movie goes on. So
Yeah, the
I
tension of the movie built to the intensity of the music went up.
yeah, definitely. You're frozen, brother.
Really?
Yeah, you're frozen and your sound is cutting in and out. If you
Am
want
I
to
back?
come back and come back in, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
On top of that, the director too. Are you coming in now or no?
I am trying, but it's not letting me.
Interesting. Let me
Hit leave
see.
studio. It's like you cannot leave.
I got you. I got you. So on top of that, you know, also the director, I'm gonna butcher his name, but Joachim Roning, who's from Norway, he's a fantastic director, and I really want Zach to hear this, because this director was like a pretty like integral influence in my starting to like really watch and love movies as an adult. And so what I mean by that is, you know, around 2008, I started to see more like foreign films in theaters. And he came out with a movie called Max Manus, Man of War, which is a Norwegian true story, World War II, kind of like a Norwegian Inglorious Bastards, if you will. And it was really, really cool. So it's really cool to see this director's trajectory from like Norwegian kind of films, and then of course Kon-Tiki, which him and his directing and writing partner did, which is also a true story about like these five loyal friends that were kind of like adrift at sea. And so hey, can you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So I was saying, you know, I really love the trajectory of the Tron Ares director,
Mm.
Joachim Roning. I'm butchering his name, but I was saying it's kind of cool because when I was really getting into film, specifically like foreign films, more into back in like 2008, his movie Max Manus, Man of War, which is kind of like a Norwegian Inglorious Bastards, except it's a true World War II story. But
Mhm.
it was fantastic. And then he did Kon-Tiki in 2012, which is another kind of like true story, like five friends lost at sea, really cool stuff. And then he started to get into like bigger budget, right? Like Pirates of the Caribbean, Maleficent, like the sequel, and Tron Ares. And so to see him come from kind of like humble, you know, indie beginnings to what he is now,
Yeah.
and Tron Ares, you know, say what you will about it, but the direction of the movie I thought was really well done, and a
Yeah.
big undertaking with this kind of special effects. And
Yeah.
so it's really cool to see his trajectory is what I was telling the audience. So I really love that about the movie. Something else that I really enjoyed that I watched after the movie was Marcelo Hernandez's stand-up special on Netflix. For those of you that don't know, Marcelo is a Cuban comedian who is on SNL. He's been on there for a few years now, and it was fantastic. It was done in Miami, where he grew up. His mom introduced him. He's very close to his mom, and it was hilarious. He was like, I'm going to talk about white people for a sec. And I just want to preference this by saying, if, you know, for this is a certain group of white people. If you are white and your mom would hit you when you would do something bad, you're Hispanic. You're not the group I'm talking about. That's what he Now, if you didn't grow up that way and you got in trouble and your parents were like, oh my, this is about you guys, you know, and like would go off. It was just like
clutching the pearls.
It was fantastic. So highly recommend that stand-up special. Marcelo Hernandez, American Boy on Netflix. Really, really good. So
nice.
With that down, let's get into some of our topics. And I want to start out with this because this was super surprising to me. As you know, there's been this ongoing thing where, you know, these established Marvel actors, they can't jump ship. They can't go to DC. That's just unheard of. And then we had Scarlett, who's joining the Batman 2. And then, that's okay. Scarlett, you know, double nominated in the same year. Oscar actress, what a great grab. Well, now we're getting another Marvel star in Matt Reeves, the Batman 2. And it is our boy, the Winter Soldier, Sebastian Stan. And so as it was first reported, he was in talks. And then we're getting more of an idea of obviously who he could be. And it seems that it has been confirmed that it is going to be Two-Face. And this comes to us from comicbook.com. They say the Batman 2 has been making waves over the past few months thanks to teases of what to expect from Matt Reeves and some major casting news. And that included one very unexpected casting rumor that was revealed this week to be Sebastian Stan, the MCU star who brought Winter Soldier to life, was reportedly cast for the anticipated Batman sequel. But now we can all stop theorizing because it has been confirmed that Stan will be playing the role of Harvey Dent, which is quite interesting because did this confirmation come from Variety? No. Did it come from Hollywood Reporter? No. This came from Sebastian Stan's stylist, who posted this picture of Sebastian Stan and pretty much said, hey, he's going to be playing Two-Face, and I'm already trying to think of ways that I'm going to style him. So that crazy. Was an interesting way to confirm it. And we've seen stuff in the past. We've seen Daredevil's trainer post that he's getting ready for Avengers Doomsday, and that may or may not be true. So we've seen some interesting introductions or spoilers, if you will, from unassuming people associated with these stars, spoiling it online. But with the casting of Scarlett already hinting at Two-Face, Long Halloween connections, it seemed a pretty foregone conclusion when it was announced that our boy is going to be playing Two-Face in the Batman Part 2 from Matt Reeves. Zach, I want to ask you, when you saw this news, what did you think about Sebastian Stan? One, you know, going from Marvel, who he's still working heavily as the Winter Soldier in Marvel, and then two, him playing Two-Face in the Batman 2.
So I'm in two mindsets here. One is like, I'm excited. Hey, who's this?
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. I'm excited because it's an established actor that I really, really like. Sebastian Stan is a great actor. Outside of him just being the Winter Soldier, his indie movies that he do he get to show his range. He has played crazy and like Fresh. If you've seen him in the movies that he did last year, the one with Donald Trump, where he played Donald Trump, and the one where he played a man that had a disfigurement, like
It
a
was
different
one of
man.
the best performances. No, I can't do it. I can't.
Oh man, he has range that he doesn't get to show when he's playing the Winter Soldier, because that character has to be stoic for the most part. So I was excited. Like, we have this established actor that I can trust, that I know can go to toe to toe with Robert Pattinson.
Oh yeah.
On the second hand on it, I'm kind of wished they had brand new actors in these roles, fresh picks,
fresh faces.
That
No
were
pun
already
intended.
established. No pun intended, because he got a stale face. People who I don't already associate with a franchise that's similar. It's not like you're going from Star Wars to DC. You're going from Marvel to DC, and you're like a major Marvel character. It's not like when the guy who played Stature in Ant-Man also played the character in Man of Steel. It's like, okay, well, he's not a major character in each movie, so that's fine.
Right, Lawrence Fishburne.
You know, and it was like also Scarlett Johansson. So it's like two major MCU characters are in this movie. It just feels a little weird. But overall, I'm excited. I think both of them can kill it. I was watching the Spoiler Kings, and they were theorizing maybe because Scarlett Johansson is such a big actor, to have her come in and just be the wife would kind of, I feel like, be too little. Underutilizing her. And I can maybe see, since this is an Elseworld Batman, he kind of gets an opportunity to do things that the main timeline won't have the chance to do. Maybe the Two-Face thing will turn into it's both of them. And it's a dual situation where they're both kind of crazy. And that's where the Two-Face comes in. I think that would be really cool. And if they do something like that, then it's worth it, because these two already have chemistry from before.
Yeah, they fought each other in in the Winter Soldier, and I mean in Civil War, they fought each other. She had her legs around his face, and she got slammed into the table, and all that fun.
Don't you remember
stuff,
me?
Yeah. You're really gonna act like you don't remember me, you know? Like it's like, do you know the Winter Soldier? His head is messed up. We all know it's like, what do you mean? He gets microwaved every time he remembers he's like, your mom's name was Sarah. You know?
Exactly.
You know, Sebastian Stan in the past 10 years has been on a tear. Let's take a look at this right now. Thunderbolts, The Apprentice, A Different Man, Dumb Money, Bupkis, Funny Cameo and Ghosted, Pam and Tommy, Fresh. This guy has the best range of any actor in this specific age range that's working today. And so what do we always say? Cast the right person for the role. And that's exactly what Matt Reeves does when he's casting. I mean, Jeffrey Wright is a very underrated actor, and it's before American Fiction, when he got his Oscar nomination. Everyone saw like he is one of the best doing it right now, but he finds these people that are coming up, have been doing it, have had, you know, some recognizable roles, and then takes them and is like, he'd be perfect for this, you know, and that's the best thing from casting directors, from directors with visions of who they have in mind when they're writing the material with the writers and building out the story. And having Sebastian Stan, which is, you know, everyone wanted Oscar Isaac, you know, for Two-Face, like they were fan casting that for a really long time. But then when you say Sebastian Stan, you're just like, that's fantastic. Why did we not think of that? That works. That's perfect casting right there. And that's the best casting, is when it's right in your face and you don't know it until they spoon feed it to you. And so I think that is great. On top of that, Scarlett Johansson and Sebastian Stan have worked together. And the more you work together, the more chemistry you have. And so these two, which ultimately seems like they're going to play this Harvey and Gilda Dent couple, you want that chemistry to feel lived in, to feel real. And why not do it with people that have already beat the crap out of each other on screen? It makes perfect sense. So I can separate the Marvel from the DC of it all. And I do agree with you, in some regards, there's a ton of actors out there. At the same time, though, this casting seems so specific that it seems like they know what they're doing. And so I'm 100% on board. And then even on top of that, who would have thought that Colin Farrell would be one of the best on-screen Batman villains of all time? And so they've already have our goodwill and our trust from showing us something that we didn't even know is possible. And now they're going to do it again with Sebastian Stan. And this is going to catapult Sebastian to superstar status. 100%. It might not have done that with Paul Dano. The talking crap from Tarantino might have catapulted Paul Dano more than playing the Riddler, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But because of the trajectory of Sebastian Stan, because he still has Avengers Doomsday and big projects coming out, this is just going to put him on another level. And so 26, 27, 28, we're going to see Sebastian Stan take that next jump up where he's going to get the star on the Walk of Fame. It's going to be a real big shift in how we see Sebastian Stan. And this is just the beginning, I think.
Yeah, he's going to become a bigger household name because of this. Like Scarlett Johansson already is. She's established. She's fine.
Yeah.
But Sebastian Stan is kind of fringe for a while. A lot of people just see him like, Winter Soldier. They don't really know his real name.
Yeah.
But I feel like this will add it.
The arm.
Yeah. The arm. So yeah, I agree with that.
Well, that arm is going to be doing some flipping of the coin in the next Batman movie. So let us know what you guys think. Is this a foregone conclusion that he is 100% playing Harvey Dent? His stylist seems to think so. Drop a comment below. Let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, I wanted to get into this. And we talked about this a lot last year. The state of Star Wars is very up and down right now. We haven't got a movie in the theaters in 7 years. We got great content on Disney Plus like Andor or Skeleton Crew, and not so great with The Acolyte. And so we're like, okay, but what's up with Kathleen Kennedy? Because we heard she was out by the end of the year. The end of the year happened. She's still here. They're still doing random movies like Starfighter. But where is the bigger picture? And who is going to lead this? Well, it seems like the worrying is almost over because we have some possible replacements for Kathleen Kennedy. And it seems like this is coming a little bit sooner than later. This comes to us from movieweb.com. They say, according to a new report, it has been confirmed that Kathleen Kennedy will step down as president of Lucasfilm next month, with Dave Filoni and Lin-Wen Brennan taking over as co-presidents of the iconic studio. According to Puck News, the rumors are true. Disney is reportedly set to confirm that longtime Star Wars creative Dave Filoni will take over Lucasfilm alongside Lin-Wen Brennan, with the former in charge of the creative side, while the latter, who is the current president and general manager of Lucasfilm Business, takes care of business interests as Kathleen Kennedy steps down from her long-held role as president of the studio. Puck News was quoted saying, let's take a little bit bigger look at this, and let's get Zach in here and not leave him on the hook. Puck News said, in the next week or two, Disney will finally confirm what we've all known for months. Kathleen Kennedy is indeed stepping down as Lucasfilm president, and Dave Filoni, currently the chief creative officer of Star Wars Unit, will be elevated into the top role. So it seems like we're finally getting what we all suspected, that Kathleen Kennedy was out, that they're going to play it safe and have Dave Filoni, who's been a creative chief officer for some time now, but has been more, in that animated realm. And then recently getting into the live action with Ahsoka, creative choices on the other shows that have come out. Not so much Andor, because apparently he didn't want that, which we'll get into. But it seems like they are happy enough with the input that he's given in the past few years. And they're doing a little Peter Safran, James Gunn, and ensuring that the business side of this co-president chair will be covered by by Lin-Wen Brennan. I want to ask you, is this finally it? Are we seeing the succession finally happen where Kathleen Kennedy is out and Lin-Wen and Dave Filoni are in? And if so, what do you think about these two as co-presidents of Lucasfilm?
I think it's finally happened. I feel like fans have been asking for it for a long time. I feel like maybe some of the people in the brass have been kind of leaking information about how she needs to be put out for a long time, but she kept like randomly getting a hit. Like every time it seemed like she was going to be out, a Mandalorian would come out,
back in,
or Andor would come out. She would always have something, which people need to give her credit for putting out good content as well, not only just stuff that people don't like. But I do think it's going to be time. Dave Filoni is someone that people have been talking about getting in for a long time. I was worried about him taking over fully, but the fact that he has someone to help with the business side, I think makes me a little bit more confident that he can just be creative and not have to worry about the business aspect of it. And it feels like James Gunn and Peter Safran has set a new standard. Feels like this is just straight out of that playbook, which is a pro and a con, where it's like you get a full creative to come in and do the creative stuff, and you get a business-minded person to kind of pull that person back to reality a little bit. Like, right. Hey, we need this within a certain budget, guy. Don't wow out. Yeah, and also, James Gunn's the face of stuff. Peter Safran doesn't look like he wants to be the face of stuff. So it looks like this might be the same thing with Dave Filoni's the face of it, and Lynn can take a step back and not have to be in the spotlight. But only worry is that just like with James Gunn and Peter Safran, Gunn's creative is very cartoony like. And Superman, I really like Superman a lot, but it did lose some of that prestige that DC had for a long time. And the look and the feel of it, and the nominations they've gotten for certain movies. Dave Filoni's stuff that he's done when it comes to animated shows, or even his live action forte, has felt versus like Andor has felt more cartoony. So we'll see how that translates to like a big time movie. If he can keep Star Wars from feeling too kid like and lose the adults. That's the only thing I'm worried about.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And, for all the Kathleen Kennedy haters, like, first off, let's keep in mind and that, Spielberg said that Kathleen Kennedy is one of arguably the best producers in Hollywood history. So, she's produced some of the most iconic films of all time. Yeah. Is her 10-year at Lucasfilm president a little bit more controversial because of the ups and downs of the Star Wars saga? Of course. And it's a heavy crown to wear when you are managing one of the biggest IPs of all time, and also one of the most divisive fan bases of all time as well. And so it's not an easy crown to wear. And on top of that, Dan Gilroy did say that there would be no Andor without Kathleen Kennedy championing that show. So you can say what you want about Kathleen Kennedy, but she was an integral part in getting arguably the best thing Star Wars has done since Empire Strikes Back. And so we got to lay the cards where they are and give respect when it's due. Now with Dave Filoni, he didn't want Andor made. These are rumors, of course, but they're heavily discussed rumors because they come from multiple sources that say that he was not hot on Andor, that it wasn't in what George Lucas, viewed as Star Wars, that he is, Dave Filoni is a George Lucas apologist, and he
It's a purist.
views purists, and he views Star Wars in a very, very certain way. And that can be good. And that can also hurt you because now you're not going to push Star Wars forward for a new generation and a new audience, that you're going to keep trying to do the same thing and expecting different results. And as we know, that is the definition of insanity. And so in those regards, it does scare me a little bit, because we do need to get out of this Skywalker, Ahsoka, Rebels funk,
Yeah.
it's time to move on. And
We
so
need new characters.
we need new characters. And as much as I love Ahsoka and I love the animated series, Clone Wars, it's been done. And I don't, as dope as it would be, and you could do this down the road, I don't need a live action Clone Wars series. I've seen enough of these characters. You've given me Obi-Wan. You've given me the reintroduction between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, Anakin. Like, we've been there. We've done that. We've seen some cool stuff with the cut in the helmet and you did not kill Anakin. I did. We've seen it. Okay.
Yeah.
Bravo. Time to move on. That's where I'm at with Star Wars. That's where a lot of people are at with Star Wars. And I cannot confidently say that Dave Filoni is the one to say, you're right, Evan, let's move on. Because he watches the Evan edition.
Yeah.
Now.
And to piggyback off what you're saying, article came out, a Variety, that there was a 23% increase in Gen Z and Gen Alpha in theaters this year, and that's why the box office ended up being done so well. We think about things like Avatar and all the original films that came out in terms of one battle after another, Sinners, Weapons, and a bunch of other things that came out.
Minecraft and
Minecraft.
Like younger people want to go to the theater again.
Yeah, and they're finally making films that are not nostalgia bait for people our age and older. They're making stuff that specifically targets people that are younger than 25. And the only way is to really keep a healthy box office and a franchise going at the same time is to do a mix. You have to please us, but also give stuff for the younger audience. It's time for Star Wars to think younger, not please the nostalgia, because you're just running it into the ground. And us older people, not me specifically, but people in my age range, are just never going to be satisfied with you retreading the same things. They're always going to compare it to something else. They're going to compare it to the books that are not canon anymore. They're going to compare it to the original series, and this is always going to be a comparison. But if you get something fresh, something new, not attached to the Skywalkers or Solo or any of that, then they can just come with a fresh mind. So I hope Filoni, kind of keeps the ideas of Lucas in his head, but is open to open up Star Wars in a way where like an Andor can be made and flourish.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And say what you will about The Last Jedi, which the Rian Johnson directed Star Wars, which was a very divisive film, but at the same time, that ending where that unassuming little boy picks up the broom and it looks like he's holding a lightsaber and he's looking to the stars, and it shows you anyone can don the lightsaber, right? With Miles Morales, anyone can don the mask. That's what little kids want. They want to feel like they can be a Jedi, that regardless of their race, ethnicity, gender, class, whatever it is, that one day they can pick up a lightsaber and be that hero, be that Luke Skywalker. And that is what we need to get back to when we're trying to get a younger audience, is letting those kids know that you could be that Jedi one day. And that is how you do it. And so I hope, what I would like to see is we have something like that that's more focused towards Gen Z and the younger generation and Gen Alpha, and have the kids grow up with a new set of characters and a new journey. And then you have something like Old Republic in the vein of Dune for adults, and you don't need to just have one franchise or one thing of Star Wars at one time, because Star Wars is not one thing anymore. We are 50 years past almost the original Star Wars, and Star Wars is a lot of different things to a lot of different people, which means you can now have different types of Star Wars in the theater for different audiences running simultaneously. And if it's good, people will show up. If it's bad, people will not show up.
Or they might still show up anyway and then complain because people showed up to Rise of Skywalker.
That's true. That's true. It was
But you're right, though. They can do it every other year, right? Like the new generation, and then you take a year off, give that movie 2 years to be made for the sequel. Then you do the Old Republic, and you just trade off every year. And that's a way where people won't get tired of it, right?
Exactly.
Like if you try to do yearly installments of the same characters, it can kind of run into the ground. But if you give that breathing room, like I think Avatar is a good look at that, right? Like Avatar Way of Water came out in what, 2022, 2023, 2022. Yeah. 3 years later, they gave us Fire and Water. We had time to miss all these characters. And a lot of people talk about Avatar and has no cultural relevance, but after I watched Fire and Ash, and then I went on social media, there's edits, there's cosplay, there's people talking about the relationships, there's people talking about Varang, there's people who care about these characters and talk about how they missed being in this world. That is what Star Wars was missing. There's too much Star Wars content to the point where you don't miss it anymore. So you have a good point of that trade-off of let's give us new Star Wars movie every 2 years. Let's have two franchises running back to back. And it'd be even cool if they found a way for the old, like you do Old Republic, find a way for Old Republic revelations and that affect the new generation. So you watch New Generation, you're like, yay, you go watch Old Republic, go, oh, that's why this is happening. Just find creative ways to get people back into it.
And I think Star Wars Starfighter will be a big test, right? Because it's not connected, but apparently there's a lightsaber battle, and we'll talk about that later in the show. But that will be the first test, because that's not supposedly not connected to anything in its own story and its own new set of characters. And so that is a test in itself, not a overblown budget. Supposedly we'll see the numbers after, but you know what I mean? That is a new type of direction. And would that movie have existed if Dave Filoni was at the helm? We can't say. And we're not going to see the effects probably until 4 or 5 years after, because they do have some stuff in the pipeline that they're working on. So it'll be interesting to see, but right now, nothing official. We've been hearing this for a year. She's going to step down. Could be Dave Filoni finally getting a business side to match Dave Filoni's creative. So we'll see. Let us know your thoughts. Do you guys have confidence that Dave Filoni and Lin-Manuel Brennan can be the people to push Star Wars in the right direction moving forward? Or do you think it should be someone else? Drop a comment below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, I wanted to get into this because we've been seeing a lot of Avengers trailers, and it's such an interesting way to introduce it. To leak them online, play them in the theater before Avatar, and then the week after, drop a clearer version of the trailer you guys obviously leaked yourselves on purpose.
Yeah.
But we've been hearing for a while there's this X-Men trailer, right? And it's specifically Avengers Doomsday X-Men. They're in it. They're leading the charge, and they're going to be an integral part to this new Avengers movie. And we finally got the trailer for X-Men Avengers Doomsday. That's right. And I was blown away. I was blown away. Okay. And this comes to us from our boys at Forbes who love movies and money. They say, on one hand, it's annoying that Marvel keeps releasing Avengers Doomsday trailers in theaters, which immediately leak in awful quality before being officially released a week later with better quality. On the other hand,
Weird.
at least the trailers are starting to be pretty awesome. And they got a little bit more awesome this past week when Marvel released the X-Men focus spot for Avengers Doomsday, having previously announced a number of Fox-era X-Men were returning for the film in some capacity. Given that we're spanning the multiverse here, should we check out the trailer together? You want to do that? Okay. Wait, did you say it cut out? Did you say yes?
Oh, yeah.
Should we watch it together?
Let's do it.
Are we gonna get they want us
It's
to,
Disney. It's fine.
They're good. They're good.
If it was Warner
All right.
Brothers, I'd be like, don't do it yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll get you. They'll get you. All right, let's take a look at this bad boy, okay?
Yeah, and if you ever get a copyright, let me know. I can help you beat it.
Death comes for us all.
Gandalf came up.
That's all I know for sure. The question isn't, are you prepared to die? The question is, who will you be when you close your eyes?
Gotta be playing chess. Brothers. Finally, long hair Magneto. Oh. All right. So that is the X-Men trailer. And of course, we finally get our boy in the comic accurate 90s Cyclops suit. And it looks spectacular. On top of that, we got some Sentinel legs in the back. That's right, my friends. Sentinels are making a comeback in a big, bad way. Zach, take it away, my brother. Just from the overall trailer, really quick, the mood, the visuals, what did you think of the trailer?
Yeah, it's so crazy how this just fits straight into the MCU feel. This feels like an MCU trailer, and it doesn't feel out of place. The X-Men feel perfectly in here to the point where I'm like, damn, should they reboot these characters? Maybe they should just integrate these characters into the new universe that's probably going to be made. Because, well, I don't know. The guy who plays Professor X probably needs to retire soon. But figure out how to keep them maybe for another 10 years without having to explain where the mutants have been this whole time. Because this looks great. James Marsden looks like he's finally going to get to play the Cyclops he was born to play. He never got a chance to play. We're finally going to get the X-Men that are fully integrated, and all their problems are going to be attached to the problems that happen in the MCU, which opens up everything. Where that conflict between the X-Men and the Avengers are always there, where they're always like the Avengers are always saving everyone but mutants, and I can see that being a central conflict here, where Doom is like, hey, these guys are not coming for you guys. I will. Because a long time the rumor has been that Doom is going to use the X-Men from that universe to take out or distract or stop the Avengers in ours. And it just makes total sense for that to happen, because a lot of people say this might be the X-Men that the Wolverine from Deadpool and Wolverine were talking about. And this might be what happened when he left the house and they were attacked. It could be that scene, which will be a cool tie-in.
Yeah.
And then maybe even see like, oh wait, they didn't die. Like maybe you thought they died, and then like right at the last second, Doom swooped them up. It could cause a lot of really cool things. So I thought the trailer was really strong. All the actors look great, and yeah, I'm down.
Well, let's see what X Punisher says. A new follower. He said, and he bounced. He said, I don't care about Avengers Doomsday. Just give us X-Men. Just give us Kitty Pryde. Give us Phantom Mex. Give us Rachel Summers. That's a random one. Give us Mana St. Contrix. Give us Mystique and her wife Destiny. So this guy is ready to move on to the X-Men. He's done with the previous iteration of Avengers and that stuff. And he's ready for the mutant saga, it seems. But to his credit, this is a nice transition, I feel like, because I'm assuming this guy's young. We, when we were young, lived in a time where our superhero movies were old. Okay. They were 1989 Batman. They were Christopher Reeve's Superman. They were Batman Returns. People didn't even know Blade was from Marvel. That doesn't count. You know what I mean? So when X-Men dropped in 2000, it was like, oh man, this could be really good. Not saying that that movie was incredible, but what it did to show people that you can take these characters from the comics, make it a little bit more serious, put in real world problems. It showed creators there is a lot you can do and a lot of stories you can tell. And we wouldn't be where we are in superheroes on the big screen today without the original X-Men from the year 2000. And so to see it come full circle and use Ian McKellen's Magneto narrating the trailer, touching his brother's hand, Patrick Stewart, one of the best superhero castings of all time, Professor X, seeing James Marsden, who they did dirty, finally get his due as the great leader Cyclops that we know and love, and see the versions that are polished, the MCU polish, if you will. This is a full circle moment that needs to be celebrated. This is big time, because this is the characters and the actors that started this whole thing 25 years ago, and now finally get to see it pay off, acting against the heroes that the new generation of kids grew up with Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, all these people that they grew up and loved. And so to see it come full circle and use the X-Men to unify the entire universe, the X-Men have once again become more important than ever for Marvel. And I feel like this is the best way to do it, right?
It's a double-edged sword with the X-Men, because it might be the best thing that happens to the MCU, but it also might be the worst thing that's happened to a lot of other MCU characters. Because there's a lot of people who feel the same way as X-Punisher, where they've been saying for a long time, as soon as Marvel bought Fox and got the X-Men, people stopped caring about all other heroes. They just want to see the X-Men.
That's how big they are, right? That's
how big they are. Yeah, like when you think about the money makers, and I was just having this conversation in a Discord chat, money makers for Marvel, it's Spider-Man and the X-Men as a group. Everybody else is kind of B, C, D tier. When it comes to making money in the comics and in live action and animated, these are the two things that you need: Spider-Man and X-Men. We got Spider-Man, and that everybody's down for that, and everybody don't really care about other characters. Now that we got the X-Men, that's like the big thing now.
No, I'm just kidding. Where's the trailer? No, we're gonna get on that in a second. Let me ask you something. You know, now that we're here, right, with the Fox X-Men, if you will, I want to ask you something. Moving past this, you are not a believer that the MCU has taken a step down from pre-Endgame glory.
Yeah.
However, the discourse online is obviously that it has, and the numbers in the box office, even with good movies like Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four, are not what they used to be pre-Endgame, pre-Ant-Man Quantumania, if you will, when that ruined everything. But I want to ask you, coming from the perspective of people that do feel that way, and from the numbers dwindling in the box office, done right, after we're done with Secret Wars, when we're in the Mutant Saga, can the X-Men bring the MCU back to the mountaintop in the glory that we all know and love?
The property on its own, no. They still have to execute it right. So there's rumors that they want to make the X-Men kind of like a Harry Potter situation. That might work for a lot of people. That might not work for you. See your face as soon as I said that? It might not work for a lot of people. So it depends on how they execute them, right? Like you talk about real world problems. If they do actually adapt a lot of the things that's going on right now, because we have a lot of crap that could happen to the X-Men that's happening in the real world, that can also turn people off. But then if they don't do that and they play it clean, a lot of people who believe in the core of the X-Men maybe turned off that they're playing it too safe with them. So they have a very fine line that they have to hit. The main thing is, though, the reason why the movies aren't doing as well is because there has not been an Avengers movie in too long. We need an Avengers movie at the end of each phase that ties up everything that's kind of been going on, have these X-Men characters meet up with whatever other characters are left and fight some minor villain and then move forward. We need those stopgaps. Because if we have those stopgaps, then it won't matter like if they don't do these things I'm talking about. Just as long as they have these stopgaps, then the MCU can get back on track. If they continue to wait 10 years in between Avengers movies, we're always going to have an issue.
I agree. And it doesn't need to necessarily be an Avengers movie. And we've talked about this before, because what Civil War did for the MCU as a whole, we would not have gotten that good of an Infinity War, that good of an Endgame. What transpired in a third Captain America movie, let's keep in mind, that had all the Avengers almost in it.
Yeah.
Told the story that was going to matter once we got to Infinity War, once we got to Endgame. The divisiveness between the teams, the disagreements between certain members, the drama, all that stuff, all that transpired in a non-Avengers movie, but had a lot of the characters all in one movie that we love to lay the groundwork for such a great Avengers movie within Infinity War. And so when you're not laying the groundwork and having some of these characters meet up, and not in the Marvels, which is random chicks that I love, but wasn't enough to like lay the groundwork for what happens after that movie, then people are not going to get as excited as they would, because they're like, well, I don't even like, I haven't even seen them together. Like, who's the Avengers? Like, what's this? What's that? And so if you're not doing the groundwork and having some of these people meet up and start those relationships that you see carry throughout the movies, like we've seen with Wanda and Vision and these people that before their show, they had relationships in every movie, progress their relationship to get to a WandaVision.
Yeah.
If we don't have that, then we're not going to be as invested in the characters, because you didn't do the groundwork with these new ones throughout the movies to the next Avengers movie. And so my hope is that we get through Secret Wars, and then you're using X-Men as that connector with the other characters. So in the X-Men movie, I want to see, Iceman have a relationship with someone from a different movie. You know what I mean? And that's the connector, right? I want to see Spider-Man at the X-Mansion. When I was
Spider-Man and
a kid,
Iceman are friends in the comics. There you go.
That's what I'm saying. But when I was a kid, when Spider-Man was hanging out at the X-Mansion, I was like, oh my God, this is the same universe? Boom. Yeah. Like, that's amazing to me as a kid. And so this, I feel like, is the best opportunity to use X-Men as that new connector within the MCU. To have other heroes come in and come out of the X-Men, to have a Black Widow, if you will, agree with Jean Grey and go to the Senate and both talk together about mutant or superpowered rights. That's what I want to see, is that connector, and using X-Men, I think, is the perfect way to do it for the next phase that we're going to get into after Secret Wars.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they do. I don't want it to be too cameo festy because they do have a lot to do with that first X-Men movie needs to just focus on them.
100%.
Because especially if they're rebooting it from scratch, we have to get invested in those characters. But as the franchise progresses, they need to like have Spider-Man be cool with Iceman and be involved. Maybe even have a situation where Spider-Man is suffering from Man Spider and he's coming to them for help, and we get through all that type of stuff. That would be cool. And just have X-Men versus Avengers. That's the big one, right? Like X-Men versus Avengers. A lot of people saying Sadie Sink might be Rachel Summers. You know what I mean? Like if Sadie Sink is Rachel Summers, that's a great way to tie all that in. Like she came from the future to the past and she slowly does stuff. So there's so many cool things that they can do with the X-Men that I hope that they get done. And like you said, we just need to have these stopgaps where characters cross over with each other and build out the universe.
Yeah, I want to see like a Professor X talking to Peter moment, and helping him out. And I don't know, there's just so much more crossover you can do and have X-Men as that hub moving forward. And that's how I think they can, quote unquote, save the MCU. So we will see. But in the meantime, we have the Fox X-Men finally in the fold in an Avengers movie. Can we take a step back and appreciate that? Because that is incredible. And for us millennials, it is a long time coming because we grew up with the X-Men. We were there for the beginnings of the MCU. And now we get our loved ones back in the fold, all for an epic movie. And so let us know your thoughts. Did this bump up your excitement? Is this the best of the 4 Doomsday trailers that you've seen thus far? Because if so, that makes a difference. Drop your comments below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, I want to get into this because we're talking about Marvel. We're talking about X-Men, and I'm putting my camera out of focus every time I put my hand forward. But where is the Spider-Man trailer? We are almost 6 months away. I'm going to keep hitting my mic from Spider-Man Brand New Day, and no trailer in sight. We've gotten 4 Avengers Doomsday trailers. That's a year out before Spider-Man. And so I'm wondering, and I'm thinking to myself, where is the Spider-Man trailer? Don't even get me started on the Daredevil trailer, which is 2 months away. So that was my first thing. My second thing is we keep getting announcements about Spider-Man, right? We keep getting announcements, so much so that we now know MJ has a boyfriend, and it is one of the biggest dicks of the Marvel comics that we have ever seen, and that is our boy, MJ's boyfriend, Paul. Yeah. This comes to us from Screen Rant. They say actor Iman Esfandi is reportedly joining the cast of Spider-Man Brand New Day as one of the most hated characters in modern Marvel comics. Mary Jane Watson's boyfriend, Paul. Peter's rival for MJ's affection has been almost universally revealed in the comics, and now it seems he's going to cause problems for Peter in Brand New Day. If rumors are true, Esfandi will join the MCU as Paul Rabin. The thing is, he's absolutely perfect casting. However, it's a tough role to take because the character is hated by hardcore Marvel readers, and that might actually be his purpose in the movie, to hate him. Paul might serve as a non-superpowered antagonist as Peter is beset from all sides by multiple villains. The thing is, while it's true Marvel fans are predisposed to hate Paul because he's in the way of Peter and MJ getting back together, and let's keep in mind, Peter and MJ are probably the most iconic, goated couple in comic book history, sans Superman and Lois. The character has rarely been written as likable. The polite way of saying that, Paul is a douchebag. Sometimes, though, he's portrayed as just a straight up jerk. And as we know, Imanis Fondi, we haven't really seen in a jerk role, and we've seen him more as a Star Wars plucky, kind of weird Ezra type character.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, and we're talking about two different things. One, are you satisfied that we're just getting more castings and not a trailer? And two, what do you think about this casting of our boy Paul? Yeah.
For whatever reason, I expected Brand New Day trailers to drop during the Super Bowl. It feels like that
is as we're getting closer. Now we're what, like, a month away. That seems to be the landing date. But isn't it interesting that we haven't gotten anything? And we had
not even like a small
teasers last year.
Yeah, not a small little teaser, then a full trailer at the Super Bowl. It's not up to Marvel, it's up to Sony when they want to do this, and maybe Sony's just not ready. Maybe they really want to pay for the Super Bowl and get all that recognition on the movie at one time, because Marvel is probably going to have Doomsday, a full trailer at the Super Bowl as well, and have those two-handers would work really well, especially if Spider-Man is not in Doomsday, right? Like, look, all your Spider-Man fix is going to be from our movie. He's not going to be in Doomsday at all, which I expect. So I think that's what they're really waiting for the moment for it to drop, when the most eyes is going to be on it. So it could be one of the biggest trailers of all time. I think that's what they're shooting for. And I know that there was like a leak of a Spider-Man trailer a couple weeks ago, and people who saw it, I don't watch leak trailers, but people who saw it said it looked really, really good. So I could see them like trying to take down all the leaks and then wait to drop the Spider-Man trailer. Now, in terms of Paul, I've heard of this character. I've seen the hate for the character. I don't know too much about him, but it makes sense for there to be an annoying boyfriend that Peter does not think is good enough for MJ in his movie. I think that's great writing. I think that's perfect. And like, talk about casting a character to look like a character. This guy looks like that drawing perfectly.
Seriously.
So I think that this will be, and because he seems plucky and funny, for him to be the jerk and funny, I think that'll be perfect for the tone. I'm not sure what the tone is going to be for this one, because it's a new creative direction, like new director, new writer, and everything. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be comedic in some way, because Spider-Man's the MCU.
It's the MCU, yeah.
It's MCU.
Yeah.
But I think that'll make perfect time for like jokes, and some more complicated adult relationships. Now that Peter is going to be an adult, MJ's an adult, it can create for some more toxic stuff that maybe adults deal with that they didn't deal with the other movies.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think two things can be right at once. One, I love the castings that we've been getting. You know what I mean? I mean, we got the Punisher, John Bernthal, one of the best superhero castings of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In the Spider-Man movie, finally. We got Sadie Sink, who is a legitimate actress, hot off of one of the biggest shows of all time, in it. We got Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner, taking that role of one of Peter's, professors in college. Perfect idea.
Perfect. Yeah.
We got Tremel Tillman, hot off all the awards from Severance, in it. We got Michael Mando finally getting Scorpion, an accurate portrayal and actual screen time in a Spider movie. So these are all in. Marvin Jones III, perfectly casted Tombstone.
I heard Yelena is supposed to be in it too, or something like that.
Who?
Yelena?
Who?
Florence Pugh?
Yeah, Yelena, supposedly. Nothing too confirmed. And then we have Liza Colon-Zayas, who's been crushing it on The Bear. So
I love her.
These are great. These are great castings, and I love the announcements. But where is this mother effing trailer? Because at the end of the day, you can keep throwing these great actors in there, but we want to see something that isn't through the lens of some shoddy filmed in the theater or wherever it is, wherever they're showing that. It's obviously Marvel doing that on purpose, but we don't want to see that. We want to get excited. It's in July. We're in January. It's time to go. And waiting till February when the Super Bowl happens, it doesn't do it for me. I'm sorry, but like, you got us so hyped with these swinging behind the scenes, crystal clear videos with this big wall opening. And he's like, I'm back, baby, in the new beautiful suit. You did that work. And then you stopped. Clean, stopped. And now no trailer? It just doesn't make sense to me. You had that momentum. You had that hype. This was supposed to be the year of Spider-Man. And now you're waiting till the Super Bowl? You can give us a short 35, 40-second tease and then full trailer during the Super Bowl. But to wait till the Super Bowl, it just seems like a missed opportunity to not counter on the hype that you made from those behind-the-scenes shots, because everyone was talking about Spider-Man. And now it seems like you're trying to play it safe because you want everyone to talk about Doomsday in these 4 super quick trailers. And do you not realize people's attention span's short? You can talk about 2 things at once. Isn't that crazy? Oh my God. So I love the casting, but I'm ready for a trailer. I'm foaming out the mouth for a trailer. I need it now. Pretty much.
I will say though, one caveat. I do notice when movies drop trailers too early that people, like, the longer it takes, 6 months is a long time. People feel like, oh, I thought it came out already. Like that kind of thing. Or it's not out yet. Like I saw 3 trailers already. Yeah, like that's why I was worried. I'm like, why are you guys dropping these teasers now? This should have been dropping in the summer because the movie's coming out in the winter. Why are you dropping it a whole year beforehand? There's no reason for this.
No. It doesn't make sense.
I am worried about like them trying to do like a year-long build up into Doomsday. I feel like people are gonna be like, oh, the movie's not out yet. Like it's gonna have the opposite reaction of like, oh, I'm so hyped, I can't wait, to like, oh, I'm tired of this teasing. I just want the movie.
No, I totally agree. So let us know your guys' thoughts. Are you excited to keep getting great castings with no trailer in sight? Or do you think it's probably better to wait till the Super Bowl and then start rolling it out after February, get people excited for July? Drop a comment below and let us know your guys' thoughts. All right, guys, with that down, let's get into this. It's a Marvel day. It's a Marvel day of not getting what we want. And unfortunately, we're not getting our boy as Blade on the big screen in a solo movie. That's right. In a solo movie is the key word. This comes to us from our boys at cosmicbook.news. They say the Mahershala Blade is claimed to be dead, at least as a solo movie. The latest, Jeff Schneider, who reports that Marvel Studios has scrapped plans for a standalone Blade film and will now introduce the character as part of a team-up movie instead. On the hot mic, Snyder said he will not be introduced in a solo movie. He'll be introduced in Midnight Suns. This marks yet another twist in the long-troubled development of Blade, which was first announced nearly 7 years ago at San Diego Comic-Con in 2019. Despite having Oscar winner Mahershala Ali attached since day one, the project has faced constant setbacks, from losing directors to scrap scripts and major creative overhauls. While Marvel hasn't confirmed anything, this new rumor tracks with recent developments. Last summer, Variety reported Marvel had no sense of urgency around Blade And recently, Mia Goth, rumored to play Lilith in the movie, confirmed the movie reached costume fitting and chemistry testing stages only to fall apart.
Wow.
Kevin Feige himself recently admitted they went through at least 4 versions of the film, including 2 set in the past. One of those reportedly focused on Blade's daughter, sidelining Mahershala Ali a little bit. That version was scrapped, thank God. And some of its costumes were repurposed for Ryan Coogler's Sinners. So let's talk a little bit about this. First, I want to ask you, Zach, we're going to break it down like this. First, let's talk about Blade's solo movie finally being killed. And unfortunately, not getting that solo movie, and what you think, what is going on, why was this a mess, and what you feel about the fallout of it all. And then let's focus after that on Midnight Suns and really what that means for the character and for that franchise moving forward.
It makes me sad. I think one of the biggest Marvel characters, one of the biggest Black Marvel characters, not getting a solo film with one of the best actors on the planet, who wanted to do this, right? He wanted to play this character, not be able to make a movie in 7 years just makes no sense to me. Also, he's getting older, so you put him in Midnight Suns, which is probably far away.
At least
and
4 years,
4 years away. So that means he gets even older, and then by the time, then you have to hope that his character is a hit in that movie for them to want to do a solo movie. He's gonna be in his 50s, 60s at that point. So the Blade character is going to be played by someone, and no offense to Mahershala Ali, but it's you got to get the ball rolling with this. We already have Moon Knight. We already have other characters, Werewolf by Night, where we have this supernatural stuff being introduced in MCU, Multiverse of Madness, also introducing some of it. Just a 90 million R-rated action comedy Blade film where he kills vampires cannot be that hard. You just cast someone cool as Dracula, put all his supporting cast in, and just have it as a movie where he has to hunt vampires. It should not be that hard.
Shouldn't. No, it really shouldn't. I mean, you had all the pieces there, right? I mean, you have Mahershala. That is huge in itself.
Mia Goth playing a vampire?
Mia Goth. You had Aaron Pierre. That's Pasta. You had these pieces, right? And so this is really the biggest example of the downfall of the MCU that people are describing, because this is really the first time where the MCU and Kevin Feige specifically have had this big of a mess around a project. Because typically once they announce it on the stage at Comic-Con, we're good to go. When they announced, that our boy Chadwick, RIP, my brother, was going to be Black Panther, and at Comic-Con, you got Captain America, Iron Man on stage, and you got Black Panther in the middle, and he's like, let's go. Boom. Yeah. A year and a half later, 2 years later, Civil War. So they've never really had the situation where they teed it up and it fell apart this big and this bad of a way. And it's really surprising because you had Mahershala come to you and say, I want to be this character. Let's figure it out. And you have the resources to figure it out, and you didn't get it done. You know what I mean? And so it's Collector Man, I'm here too, right? No, I'm just kidding. And so it's just really unfortunate that you had this perfect casting. You had the cool Comic-Con announcement on stage before COVID, of course, which ruined a lot of things. But you had Mia Goth, up and coming Pearl, X, all these crazy great things. Harley Quinn, maybe. And so it doesn't make sense that this specific thing fell apart. And then even if it was because you're trying to figure out where it fits, where do vampires fit, this and that, you just put Fantastic Four in a different world. You did the thing. You could have done the thing with Blade, and it would have been fine. People would just want to see a badass Blade movie. They don't care that it's connected yet.
They just put a Blade character in Deadpool and Wolverine, and people were hyped. So it just showed that people want Blade, that you put a little bit of Blade inside of Deadpool and Wolverine. Everybody was hyped about the character. So that was your sign of let's move forward with making a new Blade.
Seriously. So that is that. But now we're hearing that they're going to use Mahershala, who will be 60 by the time they make Midnight Suns, and that this could be where we'll see Blade next. Here's my issue with Midnight Suns. Right now, the MCU is at a point where they have lost all good faith with their audience. So they're not doing outliers anymore, like the Marvels or Ant-Man, Quantumania. Like they're playing it safe. They're going big. X-Men, right? They're going Avengers. They're going, we don't know yet. They're putting Wonder Man out all at once because they have no faith. So they've lost all goodwill. And so to do a Midnight Suns movie, even if it looks badass, Thunderbolts look badass, that A24 type trailer looks sick, it wasn't enough to get people into the theater. And so you're going to now scoot over Blade to Midnight Suns, but MCU isn't in a place where they're doing experiential, supernatural, or whatever it is type of movies anymore. They're in a place where they're big IP, playing it safe. And so it just doesn't make sense to me, coming from Zack Snyder, who isn't always right, that there's going to be a Midnight Suns movie now. It just isn't computing in my mind that that is the safer bet. Let's shove him in a team-up movie when we know random team-up movies with characters that we love, like Winter Soldier, Red Guardian, stuff like that, aren't even working right now. You know what I mean? Your video it's cutting out and it's frozen, brother. Oh,
frozen. I'm back.
Kind of. It's coming in and out.
Hold on. I'm gonna leave and come back.
Okay, sounds good. So that is unfortunate because Midnight Suns is an epic project, and Blade could have been that connector that would have rolled into a Midnight Suns. You know what I mean? Like you could have had a Blade movie, say 2022, and then 2025 you have a Midnight Suns movie, and that would have made more sense because you built out the leader of the Midnight Suns movie, or it was a kind of sequel to the first Blade movie because people love that. So now you're kind of putting the cart before the horse in some sense. And don't get it twisted. I mean, this lineup is pretty dope. I mean, for Midnight Suns, this is what they were looking at for the MCU is Blade, Ghost Rider, typically Johnny Blaze or Danny Ketch, Moon Knight, Werewolf by Night, Elsa Bloodstone, and Man-Thing with Doctor Strange, Wong, and Black Knight as potential, coming in and out figures. So you got some dope characters and you set up some dope stuff, and you could have used Werewolf by Night, but you sat on that for a long time after people forgot about that. It's fantastic. Yeah. You had a great relationship between Werewolf by Night and Man-Thing, and then nothing happened. And so now you're going to rely on Blade, a canceled project where people only have heard the voice of a movie that was very divisive, and be like, but we're doing a team-up supernatural movie. You guys ready for that? That doesn't make sense to me. That makes it seem more like you don't know what you're doing than not.
Yeah, because that lineup that you just said, while I love it and I'm clocked in, wouldn't work. I think
Right.
the way this would work is if the lineup is Hulk, Wolverine, and Strange. So you give 3 characters that are already invested in our box office, and Doctor Strange already delved into like horror, supernatural stuff. Wolverine, everyone wants to see him, and Hulk, everyone wants to see like a Hulk comeback. If you have those 3 characters and then you bring in to round out the 6, I think that thing. But Blade being lead with Moon Knight, which is a show that didn't do that great. Werewolf by Night with a short that was good, but not a lot of people saw. And then Elsa Blood Knight is a character that people don't really know. That's worrisome.
Yeah, I totally agree. It is exactly the words. It is worrisome because it's still showing signs of you guys don't know what you're doing. That you could have carved out the supernatural world. Get Jack Schaefer, get her back, pay her all the money because clearly she knows what she's doing with the supernatural of the MCU, and have her spearheaded and carve out that. It could be on a different world. It doesn't need, we saw with Fantastic Four, it doesn't need to be in 616 or 0000, whatever the heck it is. Yeah. It could be its own thing. That planet could just have supernatural stuff, and then it comes into ours. I don't know, but you could do stuff like that. Seems like it's too late because you're going to end the multiverse stuff after Secret Wars, but you could have done that. So my honest opinion is I don't even think Midnight Suns is going to happen at this point. I think that'd be really weird. Unless Midnight Suns is a part of Doctor Strange 3, because now you're using an IP that has worked in the theaters, a character that is a legacy MCU character, and now you're using him to introduce the supernatural even more and using these big names. Then I could see that working a little bit more. So there is a way, but right now it seems like they have no idea what to do, that they are very lost. So that is that, you guys. Unfortunately, we will not be getting a Solo Blade movie, at least for the foreseeable future. Let us know what you guys think. Would you be interested in a Midnight Suns movie? Do you think that it just doesn't work right now with where the MCU is at? Drop a comment below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. We are almost out of here. We got one more topic. And before we get into that topic, I wanted to mention a few Golden Globe winners. As you guys know, the Golden Globes are tonight and did start hour and a half ago. And so I just wanted to drop some winners, if you will. I'm just going to go down the list. Please, my brother, Zach, share your thoughts as I go down. Of course. Best actor in a comedy or musical. Winner by surprise, Timothée Chalamet for Marty Supreme.
Not a surprise at all.
Best actress in a comedy or musical. Winner, Rose Byrne. If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You.
Well deserved. Not surprised.
Very cool. Best screenplay. Winner, Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another.
Is this all screenplays in one, or is it like original and adapted?
It's all, I think. I think that's how they do it. Yeah. So our boy Ryan did not win, unfortunately, which this was a hard one. And this is going to be the battle at the Oscars.
Yeah.
And of course, best original song. Golden. Golden. K-pop Demon Hunters. Golden.
Ooh, get that off my screen. I'm joking.
It's ridiculous because wait. Oh, I Lied to You was the only song from Sinners? That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It should have been like 3 songs because I love that one. We've been live for a long time.
Long time.
You know, I love this.
Ooh. Nobody's
Best
gonna be
supporting
singing Golden
actor.
in a year.
What's up?
So no one's gonna be singing Golden in a year.
No. I listen to that Sinner song like once a week. Best supporting actor. This is crazy. I really thought it was going to be Sean Penn. It is Stellan Skarsgård's Sentimental Value.
He's been a front runner for a long time. I'm actually not shocked, especially after he didn't get the love at I think BAFTA and at Critic Choice.
Critics.
I think they're gonna. I think Golden Globe is like, we're gonna showcase him a little bit because the international film has been kind of getting snubbed. You have like 5-6 international films that are dope that hasn't get the spotlight. So yeah, I get that. He's been a front runner for a minute.
This is awesome. Best supporting actress. Our girl on the rise, Tiana Taylor. One battle
Nice.
after another.
Anyone
Finally.
but Ariana Grande. Anyone but
Ariana would have been very happy with Amy Madigan, Weapons.
Me too.
And Emily Blunt, Smashing Machine. She was incredible.
Yeah, she was great. Oh man,
This was a hard one. All right. Best drama.
it's not
Not chosen yet.
not chosen yet.
No, I don't think so. I think this is the most updated list. Yeah.
Gotcha. For the movie set, because they're also doing television shows. That's why it's taking so long.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think there's any. Yeah. Oh, best podcast. Amy Poehler. Good hang with Amy Poehler.
That's a fun podcast. I watch it. She knows how to get them very comfortable and ask some
Very
good
good.
questions. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. She's going against her ex-husband, right? With
Cool.
we're for Smartless.
Oh.
The one in I'm Dying Up Here, or where he's the stand-up Bradley Cooper movie. I can't think of his name right now.
I didn't know they were together. I did not know that.
Yeah, they were together. So now they're against each other with podcasts.
That's fine.
Best actor in a comedy, of course, Seth Rogen, The Studio.
Of course.
Best supporting actor, of course, Owen Cooper, Adolescence.
Yeah.
Best actress in a comedy, Jean Smart, Hacks. So good.
That's always
really
winning.
good this season. Really, really good. Surprise. Because typically when you get into season 4, you're like, okay, when is it gonna? Nope, hella good this year. Really good. I was happily surprised. And of course, he's been on a hot streak. He's been in the medical room, saving lives. The winner of Best Actor in a Drama, Noah Weil, The Pit.
Of course.
And that's it. That's where we're at. So just giving you guys an update for the Golden Globes. Let's move on to our last topic. With that down, I wanted to get into this. So as you guys know, and as we mentioned, we got a Star Wars movie coming out. Not The Last Starfighter, I wish, but the Starfighter nonetheless, directed by Deadpool and Wolverine's Shawn Levy, starring Ryan Gosling. And this is our first Star Wars movie in the theaters since 2019. So what they show on that big screen matters. And it seems like Shawn Levy is pulling out the big guns, actually the big missiles, the cruise missile. That's right, my friends. Tom Cruise was on set of Starfighter, Star Wars, and he has indeed directed a lightsaber battle. Oh my goodness. If today were April 1st, you'd be forgiven for thinking the story was a gag. However, the headline above is true. Tom Cruise really did film a lightsaber battle on the set of Shawn Levy's upcoming Star Wars Starfighter movie. Not only does this confirm that we're getting lightsaber duels in 2027, but it was also revealed that Cruise's work behind the camera will be included in the final cut.
Nice.
Yeah, our director, Shawn Levy, said this. It was a brisk morning in November, and Cruise had dropped by from nearby London, landing his helicopter on set as the crew piped in the Mission Impossible theme over the loudspeakers. Cruise just wanted to watch, he told them, but Levy, setting up a scene involving a lightsaber duel in the water, suggested the star jump on one of the cameras. He meant it as a joke, but there was Cruise wading into the muddy pond, holding the camera like a pro. Levy later said, last week, Steven Spielberg was here, and now Tom Cruise is wielding a camera, ruining his very nice shoes. Now, when you see the movie, you'll know that part of it was shot by Tom. I mean, how cool is that?
That's super cool.
I want to ask you, one, what do you think of this confirmation that we are indeed getting a lightsaber duel, nonetheless, in the water, in the muddy water, and two, that it's going to be directed by the cruise missile, Tom Cruise.
Cruise missile. That's amazing. Yeah, I love that. I've been saying for a while now, I want Tom Cruise to, or saying internally, not online, that I want Tom Cruise to slowly transition as a director. I think he has a great eye for action, and I think him directing a Star Wars, Marvel, DC, or a sci-fi fantasy action film could be amazing, because he loves practical. He loves giving the biggest thing that you have never seen ever on screen. So yeah, run it as hard as you possibly can. So him directing a Star Wars lightsaber battle could make it way more dynamic than we really get. A lot more movement, a lot more using the space. A lot of times they just like fight in a circle. I would love for it to have levels to the fight. So yeah, I think that's really, really cool. I think that I'll be very excited to see what he did in there. What little that he got to do with that fight.
No, I totally agree. I mean, Tom Cruise has been acting for the better part of over 4 decades. This man has lived on set his entire life.
Yeah.
And when you joke to Tom Cruise, hey, why don't you get behind the camera? And he jumps in the mud in his nice little loafers, all 5'5" of him, behind the camera, ready to film a lightsaber duel. You got the cruise missile ready to rock it. No pun intended. No, all the puns intended. So I think it's fantastic that you got someone who knows film behind this camera of an non-Skywalker saga Star Wars movie. We were just talking that we need to move past it. I don't know how past it this movie is going to be. It might take place between some eras. I'm not sure. But at least we know it's going to be something very different than we've seen in the Skywalker saga. And now it's confirmed that there is lightsabers in it. There's definitely going to be Force users and lightsaber users. Potentially this young boy that Ryan Gosling is protecting. And not only that, we're going to get some cool lightsaber battles in the water, in the mud. And so that just makes me super excited. The cherry on top of the cake, and what I think a lot of film lovers love, we always love those behind the scenes, making of, extras on the DVD. So now we're going to be hankering for those when it comes to this movie, because we're going to see this behind the scenes of Tom Cruise actually handling the camera while visiting the set and helping film a potential badass lightsaber battle for this movie, which just kind of deepens like the lore of the making of this Star Wars movie. And so I think for film lovers, that is super exciting and something I can't wait to see the behind the scenes of when it comes out.
Yeah, that's like when I found out that Daniel Craig was that random stormtrooper inside of Force Awakens. Like that just makes it so much cooler. and deepens it. Yeah, I agree with you. I love the behind the scenes stuff, especially the ones that doesn't spoil. Like this doesn't spoil anything. We know that there's a lightsaber fight. I just looked it up. Starfighter is going to be 5 years after Rise of the Skywalker, so it's not that far removed from that time. But hopefully, none of the characters from that are in this because we need to move forward.
That Rey's going to be in it.
Yeah, because there's supposed to be a Rey movie supposed to come out, so they might be trying to set up Rey in this to follow up. But
I hear it might be canned.
Might be who?
It might be canned. I hear.
Okay. I could see that. I could definitely see that.
No, no offense to.
Just move on.
Her.
I don't see anything good happening from a Rey movie.
I just want to move forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we'll see what Dave does. So
we'll see what Dave
does. I think this is awesome. I think it's funny. I think it's fun. Spielberg was on set. People love Star Wars. It's a big part of the culture of film on the big screen. And so they want to be a part of it in any way that they can. And so the fact that one of the biggest Hollywood stars of our time, of our lifetime, wanted to be on the set and jumped at the chance to get behind the camera is just another really cool story. So I thought that was awesome. Let me know what you guys think. One, are you excited for a lightsaber battle in this new off Star Wars movie? And two, what do you think of, that's right, the cruise missile, Tom Cruise, getting behind the camera, getting his loafers dirty in the water and shooting this bad boy? So drop a comment below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, that will do it for the show. The first Evan edition of 2026. And I couldn't have been happier to do it with my boy, Zach. Zach, where can the good people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube at Zach Goburn, spelled exactly like that down there. I am on Instagram as well, where I post updates, short reviews when I'm not going to review a movie fully. I'll put a text review on there. So if you want to keep it update on that, and also my letterbox, which is also Zach Goburn. Zach Goburn on TikTok as well. So you can follow me on all those things if you use them.
Awesome. And you guys find me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube at the Evan Edition. Like, subscribe, comment, be a part of the community. I love hearing from you guys. I love seeing you guys debate these things on the threads. It's one of the best parts, but I really appreciate any support you can give me. I want you guys to be a part of the conversation, be a part of the community, be a part of the ride, because that's the best part. So please like, subscribe, and be here with us. We're going to continue to do this live because I love when people get in the chat, comment, be here. I know sometimes it's hard on Sundays, but if you can't be here, please join us. We're going to be here every Sunday at 5 p.m. And we'd love to hear from you guys. So that's that. Zach, thank you for always being here. It is always a pleasure. We got some fun stuff coming up. We got our boy Daredevil, the cosplayer, who's going to be on the show. Me and Zach are going to interview him on February 1st. And then he's going to be a part of talking about some current events from that week. So stay tuned for that. We got some more interviews coming up. So can't wait for you guys to be here, be a part of the journey. So thank you for tuning in. Have a great rest of your week. And we will see you guys next time. Take care, my friends. Bye-bye.
It's the Evan Edition. The Evan Edition. The Evan Edition. The Evan Edition. It's the Evan Edition. The Evan Edition. The Evan Edition. The Evan Edition. It's the Evan Edition.